Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hivemind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Okay, so breaking news here, as it seems something's possibly happening behind the scenes. The infamous Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's right-hand woman, was reportedly just moved to a minimum security prison camp in Texas. And let that sink in for a moment. The woman who was convicted of trafficking underage girls to billionaires and power brokers probably just had one of her demands met, getting taken out of a big-time federal penitentiary in Tallahassee, Florida, and now being moved to a cushy facility in Texas. Well, clearly that's sending a very obvious signal. Let's just apply Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is probably the most likely one. Trump's DOJ seems to be caving to some of her demands, hoping that she might be flipping and helping them build a massive frickin' case here. And if that's the case, well, maybe she's ready to hand over the names, the evidence, and the smoking guns. And I'll tell you, she better be bringing the motherload if she expects anything in return. Boy, do we got some stuff to talk about on this one, but this video is actually brought to you guys by a sponsor, so let's first play that clip. This video is brought to you guys by American Hartford Gold. Donald Trump is back in the White House, and America is on track to make the biggest economic revival in history. The economy is likely to surge, investment is pouring in, and confidence is returning. And in times like these, it's important to invest properly, and that, my friends, is where American Hartford Gold steps in. Because as we all know, one of the best ways to protect your wealth is by investing in precious metals, that's gold and silver. And friends, American Hartford Gold is simply the best in the business when it comes to protecting you from economic downturns. They have 5-star ratings across the board with an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. In other words, they're a market leader in the space, helping Americans lock in their financial security by diversifying into real tangible assets. And I know that sounds good, but trust me, it gets even better. All you gotta do is give them a call and they'll send physical gold and silver straight to your doorstep, or they can help you add it to your IRA or 401k. Zero hassle, just smart investing. Actually, it gets even better because American Hartford Gold is currently running a special right now where you could get up to $15,000 in free silver on qualifying purchases. So what are you guys waiting for? Sure, things look like they're on the up and up right now, but history tells you it doesn't last forever. The incompetent buffoons will at some point bring on hard times and you gotta protect yourself. And so to get that process started, all you gotta do is call 844-440-1005. That's 844-440-1005, or text Hivemind, that's Hivemind one word, to 65532. Again, text Hivemind to 65532, and they'll get you guys set on the right track. A huge thank you to American Hartford Gold. Now back to the video. Alright folks, so according to multiple reports, Maxwell was quietly transferred from federal lockup in Tallahassee, Florida to a low-security prison camp in Bryan, Texas. Now there's no official statement as to why that happened, but we can't ignore the obvious detail that that's a massive downgrade in punishment. You could argue she's gone from hard time to now luxury detention, and of course people are rightly asking, well, why? Well, again, there's only one obvious explanation. The only thing that justifies this kind of leniency for this kind of individual is now the potential building of a massive frickin' case. Not this little I'll name names nonsense. No, we're talking full-blown nuclear-grade disclosure, please. If they're actually caving to her demands, I mean, it's likely that she's got maybe signed affidavits, photo evidence, account records, possible logs and movements, maybe text messages. I mean, that better be what's going on here. She better be ready to crack this whole operation wide open, or we've got a serious frickin' problem over here. Now, obviously, you've probably seen it online that some people are very against even having the conversation, especially leftoids these days.
For somebody like Ghislaine Maxwell, it's almost impossible for her to be moved to a facility like this. That means that somebody on the inside had to waive certain requirements for Ghislaine Maxwell to be able to go to this facility. She now has more freedom of movement, limited security fencing, is now being housed with non-violent inmates, and people at this camp get to go outside from the hours of 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. They also teach yoga classes. So while victims of Epstein are still out there suffering today, Ghislaine Maxwell is now doing yoga at her new facility. This is all part of Donald Trump's plan to eventually either pardon Ghislaine Maxwell or grant clemency to her.
Major breaking, Ghislaine Maxwell has been quietly moved from the Florida prison she was serving time in to a prison in Southeast Texas. Her attorney even refused to comment on the reason for the move. The timing is suspicious as hell, and every American should be shouting, No pardon ever for Ghislaine Maxwell.
No pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell ever, they're saying all of a sudden, when it seemed last week they were hellbent on getting the files and getting all the information no matter what. I wonder why that is. But obviously I don't want to say that it's only Democrats that have adopted this stance. Obviously, people of all backgrounds are a little queasy at the notion. Nobody really wants to hear the word pardon and Ghislaine Maxwell in the same sentence. Nobody's on their knees begging for Ghislaine Maxwell to get off of her sentence or possibly receive cushy treatment. People have a deep sense of justice on the issue, but I think a more important question is, how do we achieve a more total justice? I mean, let's be perfectly honest here. If Ghislaine Maxwell rots in a cell for the rest of her life and the rest of Epstein's supposed high roller clients get to go free, well, is that justice? I don't think so. That sounds more like a scapegoat. Sounds more like symbolic satisfaction, while the actual perpetrators, the most powerful, the most protected and politically connected, get to walk away untouched. And so that leads us to the most important question. Well, what if she can give us everything? I mean, after all, she was Epstein's gatekeeper. She knows who flew where, who paid what, and what happened behind closed doors. She knows who the clients were and who are the random cushy elites that were simply hovering his orbit. She is really the key to this investigation. She's the one who's sitting on all the information. And frankly, I think it's a miracle that she's alive. You know, Epstein isn't, but she is. And so if she's actually willing to engage on that level, to give all of that information, and if the DOJ is willing to act on it, well, then you have to consider that at the very least. And not because she deserves leniency, not because, that would redeem her. No, not in any sense, but because the people that she can potentially bring down are likely a whole lot worse. We're talking about a potential mountain of intel. I mean, real names, real dates, real documentation. And of course, that's what I keep emphasizing. That needs to be the most important part of these demands here. We can't expect to give her a free pass just because she wrote a couple names on a white napkin. We're not talking about a full pardon granted to Ghislaine Maxwell tomorrow. We're talking about conditional leniency only in exchange for massive, verified, game-changing cooperation. And if she lies, if she perjures herself, if she holds back, right back in the frickin' cage.
You right to jail.
But if she delivers, if she testifies, if she blows the lid off this entire thing, well then again, I believe that she essentially becomes the key to unraveling possibly one of the most sickening power rackets in modern history. Sometimes a bad person has to get a little something in order to take the whole racket down. Could you imagine a RICO-style investigation and takedown of the entire network? Now that would be fulfilling the mandate. That's what people want, I think, beyond just punishment for Ghislaine Maxwell. The people want exposure. They want that entire system ripped wide open, which is why, again, this administration needs to commit to the full release of the files. And if that means holding our nose and cutting a deal with the devil to burn down the whole house, well, so be it. At least that's my opinion. But again, that's exactly what she has to do. If she expects anything, she's got to bring something quite significant, quite big. Otherwise, she can piss off back to the federal penitentiary in Tallahassee. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.